Howdy everyone and welcome back to The Game Thing, the only place you can get a games industry tonight show. We got a great show for everyone this week with lots of great news to cover. So without further ado, let's get into it all because I would very much like to get back into playing Pokemon Legends ZA. There has been lots of fighting game movement over the last week. Gameplay Group International officially announced Avatar Legends the fighting game, based off the iconic Nickelodeon series. The game will be a 1v1 fighter with 12 characters at launch, support characters, movement-centric gameplay, and a hand-drawn 2D style. Legends will also support crossplay with rollback netcode. The game is currently slated for a summer 2026 release on PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Switch 2. This week also saw the gameplay reveal of Miaris, the final DLC character for Season 2 of Tekken 8. Launching on December 2nd, Miari's combat style draws from Morengi, a traditional Madagascaran martial art, alongside other African influences and animal-inspired movements learned from the creatures she grew up observing. She is also joined by Vanilla and Coco, two ring-tailed lemurs. Her release will also introduce Baobab Horizon, a stage inspired by Madagascar and representing the beauty of Miari's homeland. That isn't it for fighting games, as New Line Cinema confirmed at New York Comic Con that Mortal Kombat 3 is already in the works at the studio, with Jeremy Slater returning as screenwriter. Apparently, Warner Bros. And New Line have high hopes for Mortal Kombat 2, which is currently set for release on May 15, 2026, which is what led to this early announcement of a third movie. Can't wait to see how both films turn out. While the dream would have been this being a part of the fighting game segment, alas, Square Enix, Dissidia Duellum Final Fantasy was announced this week as the newest game in the Dissidia series and the newest mobile game from the studio. Instead of being a traditional 3D arena fighting game, Dissidia Duellum will be a 3v3 team boss battle arena game, where you must defeat the boss before the enemy team, with simple controls and exhilarating action. I really do like the aesthetics of the game, as it takes place in modern day Tokyo with classic Final Fantasy characters appearing with updated modern looks. So I'll probably at least give it a try, although I would proceed with caution on spending any kind of money, as Square Enix has a very long history of shutting down their mobile games. Players can now apply for the closed beta test that takes place next month, and the full release is set for 2026 on mobile devices. Maybe one day we'll get another full-fledged Dissidia game. In other mobile game news, Sega announced that Sonic Rumble, their Fall Guys inspired mobile spin-off, is finally launching next month. Following a lengthy test period, the game now has more dynamic core, with some of Sonic's iconic skills being added to the game, as well as tons of new stages and modes. The player onboarding journey has also been streamlined to make things easier to see, all in one easy-to-navigate hub. And while talking about Sega games, the final guest villain for Shinobi Art of Vengeance's Sega Villain Stage DLC was officially revealed. Joining Death Adder and Dr. Eggman will be Majima from the Like a Dragon series. IGN held their annual FanFest this week, and that came with plenty of video game announcements. Some highlights include Invincible Versus revealing that Cecil will be joining the game's roster, Dispatch, the narrative game from former Telltale devs, showing a new trailer before the first episode's launch on October 22nd, Terminator 2D No Fate showing off a new trailer showcasing how players will be able to change humanity's fate with their choices on November 26th, and interviews with the teams behind Marvel Cosmic Invasion and Densha Attack. There was also trailers for, and strap in, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, Metro Rivals, Scope G83, Japanese Driftmaster, Directive 8020, Star Trek Voyager, Ambrosia Sky, Battlestar Galactica, Scattered Hopes, Goodnight Universe, The Outer Worlds 2, Jurassic World Evolution 3, Warhammer Dark Heresy, Scott Pilgrim EX, House Flipper Remastered, and SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide, which now has a demo. Ubisoft announced that offline support for The Crew 2 is now available. Called Hybrid Mode, players will now get the chance to make a copy of their online save to be played offline. The real benefit from this will be if these servers go offline, The Crew 2 will still be playable, unlike the original Crew game. While not all features will be available, it's good to see most of the game get preserved. The Crew Motorfest also announced its Year 3 update, which will bring the NASCAR license to the game, RC cars, the TrackForge track creator, and a new playground island. Quantic Dream, the studio behind Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain, revealed that their next project is Spellcasters Chronicles, a free-to-play 3v3 competitive multiplayer game. Players will choose their caster from a huge roster, but instead of the traditional way of doing things, the twist is that you'll build a deck from a list of over 50 spells and summoners. You'll also select a Titan, which you'll be able to call in to turn the tide of a match. The premise is simple: outmaneuver your opponents as you try to destroy their life stones. Definitely a departure for the studio, but they did confirm development on Star Wars Eclipse is still underway, a game that will be more in line with their classic narrative-driven titles. Quantic Dream didn't give a release date, but they did say beta sessions should be imminent. One of my most anticipated upcoming games, Exodus, had a pretty big week for news. The team at Archetype revealed the key art for Exodus, along with some details for the Mass Effect spiritual successor. The base gun players will use is the Recycler, a gun that can salvage materials to make resources and transform into different weapons. Different playstyles was also a priority for the devs, as you can take on the game guns blazing, through stealth, or talking your way through every encounter. The companions will play into this, as some may be more tuned for stealth or hard combat. And since this is a big RPG, the devs shared that the side quest system will be critical to the game and not just be filler content, as they want to make players feel connected to the universe and develop their relationships with their companions. Exodus is slated for a 2026 launch, and you can now wishlist the game on Steam, Epic Games Store, PlayStation, and Xbox. So excited to see more later this year. To celebrate the Halloween season, NetEase announced their first ever PvE event that Marvel Rivals will be receiving. Based off the Marvel Zombies TV show, players will be able to play as Thor, Jeff, Blade, the Punisher, or Magic as they take on hordes of zombies and fight Zombie Namor and Scarlet Witch bosses. Every character will also get some new special abilities, such as Magic with her unlimited Dark Child form. It seems to be a lot like Junkenstein's Revenge from Overwatch, and that's always a great time. The Zombies PvE mode launches on October 23rd, and I can't wait to jump in. And that wraps up this week of TGP. Very fun week of news and plenty of spooky time season left, so make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you don't miss a thing. I've been your host, Brandon Alanis, and I'll see you all soon.